Anyway, he said most people like you, you tell people they can pay their debt off, but in reality, we're going to have debt forever for the rest of our life. And I was just like, why would you say that? Hey, rich friends, it's Candace, your revenue growth strategist, showing you how to grow your revenue without using your labor. So I wanted to tell you real quick about this experience I had not long ago. We were at this lounge and oh my God, this guy, I think it's a thing. Like if someone says, or they say, oh, well, Candace, what do you do? Or whatever. And I say, well, I'm in tax and finance, that's what I do. And I kind of keep it general. Let's talk about something else, because I don't want to, when we talk about business, we can talk about business. But I do my best if we're hanging out not to, do that. So my goodness. So he was like, oh, so you help people like pay their debt off and stuff. And I was like, yeah. That's the finance side. And I'm kind of looking at him funny, like, what you trying to say? You know what I'm saying? Y'all, excuse me. But he gave me this look because the way he said it. And I thought I was going to have to come for him. But anyway, so let me tell you what happened. So when we were there, he was like, oh, you help people pay their debt off and stuff. You see that look? And I was like, yeah, I do. And he was like, well, I don't believe in that kind of stuff. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, I don't believe in it. I said, well, tell me why. He was like, well, most people like you coming for me, Lord. Anyway, he said most people like you, you tell people they can pay their debt off, but in reality, we're going to have debt forever for the rest of our life. And I was just like, why would you say that? Speak for yourself, number one, because not everybody has to live and die with debt their whole lives. And he was like, no, we always going to have debt. We always got something to pay for. And I was like, well, I can agree that we'll always have something to pay for, but we're not always going to have debt. So I left it at that. I didn't want to give him no educational session or nothing like that, but I'm going to do you all the due diligence to tell you what's real. Okay. So there's a difference between regular residual expenses and debt. Debt is something that you can pay off. It's something that let's say you got a car note, you get a car, that's something you pay on every month because, well, you got it and there's a note and you have a balance. And once you pay the balance off, it's paid for. Now, your residual bills, like your electric bill, well, you can't pay your electric bill off. It's residual every single month. Now, with that in mind, those are two different types of bills. He was talking about the residual bills that were going to be paid every month. Yes, but that's not debt. Come on, that's not that. So what I'm sharing with you is to understand that I hope that you understand that we all need a plan to pay our debt off. We all need some type of plan to say, hey, we don't have to buy a home and actually live in it and pay it off in 30 years. You don't have to go that route. You don't have to get a car and finance it. I think they do 7 years now. Used to be like 4 or 5 years, but I think it's 7. You don't have to finance that car for 7 years and then actually go the full 7. You can pay it off early. You don't have to keep that credit card, pay it down, and then run it back up. You don't have to go through that. You can have a plan to pay those things off and then be able to live your lifestyle debt-free, and that's okay, right? Some debt is actually good debt, and I'll tell you more about that later. This is something I want to make sure I'm clear on. The reason I'm sharing with you to pay your debt off is because when you get interest, and what is interest? Interest is the penalty you pay to own something in advance that you cannot afford. Mr. Ivy Stokes says it best. I'll say it again. Interest is the penalty you pay to own something in advance that you cannot afford. So when you go and you get the car, they put an interest rate normally on the car because you got the car in advance, but you still had the note, which means you couldn't pay for it all at one time. Well, that interest, many times if it's high interest, you're paying a whole lot for that car or more or double for the actual vehicle or the item, and you really didn't have to. So we want to pay the debt off early. We want to make sure we get out of that rut and not be a slave to the lender because, the Bible says, and I'm a church girl, I'm a God girl. Oh, yes, I am. So as a God girl, I know that the Bible tells us that the borrower is a slave to the lender, and we don't want to be in that position our whole life. So let's make sure that you're with us and that you have a plan to pay that debt off, to make sure that you have a step-by-step process to make it happen for yourself. So again, I'm Candace, revenue growth strategist, showing you how to grow your revenue without using your labor, of course, and I will see you soon. Thank you.